Thanks everyone for joining. We're going to talk about intelligent automation orchestration, right? So we have got a couple of gentlemen from Turbotic, and I'll introduce them as we get going. So firstly, this webinar is brought to you by Nirvana. We are a community of automation practitioners who support each other and help each other in this intelligent automation journey. It's a lot of hype out there, and so we're just making sense of it together. We've had people like Alex in the community sessions, so it's really fun. So yeah, if you guys want to join, our next cohort is starting end of September, and I'm actually announcing this for the first time in this meeting. So and I plan to announce it soon on LinkedIn and all that, but we have some discounts for the early joiners. So if you go to botnirvana.org, there is a form if you want to request to join. So with that, let's get started with today's session. The agenda is one, I'll make some opening remarks in terms of what's the trend and what we're seeing with this particular piece of the market, which I think Gartner calls this process orchestration. Zinov is calling it as orchestration. So it's an emerging market, and we'll talk about it. And then I'll hand it over to Alex, where he'll talk about the optimization concepts with intelligent automation. And that's some interesting slides. I've seen that. And Goran will do the most exciting part, right? He'll demo the Houston 2.0 Turbotic, and that will be amazing. So I'm also looking forward to that. We'll follow it up with a Q&A. So hold your questions till the end, and you put it in the chat too, and then we'll take it up towards the end. We have a good 15-20 minutes for the questions. So, we're looking forward to all your questions. And then we'll have closing remarks. Okay. So today we have Alex from Turbotic. He's the Chief Strategy Officer at Turbotic, one of the early members of the team, if not the co-founder. I also have Goran, who is the CTO. So, the key members of the Turbotic team are here to talk about the Turbotic platform and how you can use it for your optimization needs. So I just quick remark on where this market is, right? It's, as I said, it's about orchestration. And so let's talk about orchestration a bit, right? So when this whole journey about intelligent automation started, it started with RPA, as we all know. And then I also started with RPA. And so there are three components of RPA, which is pretty exciting. One is the GUI part, which is the screen, and it interacts with the screen. Very exciting for people to see, and that's probably the most visible thing, which is probably not very exciting to technical folks. But the second part is the bot aspect of it, which is that there's a runtime. We've been doing automation for long, but it's introduced a concept for called bots, and it's a runtime executing your actions. And the third aspect, and I think which is the most important aspect, is the orchestration. So you can orchestrate these bots to carry out your actions, in a symphony. And that's very important, right? Like in life, music, math is important. So that whole orchestra or orchestration of these bots is the important aspect of automation. And if you look at it, UiPath, the most costly license for UiPath is their orchestrator. And in fact, players like RoboCorp only charge for the orchestration. So that's that important for it. So now the question is the orchestration. How do you do this orchestration as this ecosystem grows, right? So all this RPA players would want you to use their orchestration and be within their ecosystem, but there's more and more capabilities coming into the market, right? With more and more AI capabilities coming in, as well as multiple other technologies, whether it is analytics, whether it's automation, whether it's BPM, there's multiple technologies and things coming up. So how do we do this end-to-end orchestration? So that's where this is, players like Turbotic or orchestrators like Turbotic can play a great role, because they bring in they can orchestrate across the ecosystem. So if you are like in UiPath, you're only orchestrating UiPath, right? But here you can orchestrate across different RPA technologies. Here, as Gartner is saying, whether it's an NLP, whether an advanced assistance like a chatbot or API, you can orchestrate across. Now, there's this whole debate about, whether should I stick to one ecosystem or should I have multiple tools? To me, and as like Gartner says below, it's best to have a best of breed ecosystem, because at some point you need to have a boundary. And so hyper automation or that is a concept, but I think it's not a good idea to chase hyper automation or whatever you call that, because it's an evolving thing. And today I heard one more term, Uber automation. People are just making fun of the terms that's coming in. So, but I think focus should be more on what are your business objectives and look at what tools will work best for you. So, but from a Gartner perspective, this particular orchestration, which they call as process orchestration, is one of the big trends coming up in the next couple of years, and it's got fairly good impact. So today we'll talk about process orchestration with Turbotic, right? So Turbotic does that in a great way. So they call it enabling an intelligent enterprise. So from a Turbotic perspective, we will see how you can use Turbotic to do optimization of automations that you're bringing in using their platform. So we have Alex, who will be talking about how you can optimize your automation and its impact on your intelligent automation journey. And then he will hand over to Goran for the demo. So over to you, Alex. Let me make you co-host. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Nandan. Great to be here. So I'll go in and share then, right?
Yeah, go ahead and share. Let me stop sharing. And thanks everyone for joining. I know many of you guys joined as I spoke. Thank you for joining.
Okay, here we go. So, and I can just recommend Nirvana, of course. I've been part of that a few times. Great discussions with the community. But let me jump into this topic about automation optimization. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept of automation optimization, both from a Turbotic perspective, as we're trying to basically build a platform for this, of course, but also based on my own experience of running a large-scale intelligent automation initiative from 2016 to 2021 at Ericsson, where we basically started with a few guys doing RPA and ended up with 500 people doing intelligent automation across this open ecosystem of platforms like Nandan talked about, with the multiple different platforms and hundreds of projects and hundreds, thousands of live solutions. And this was very, very complex to manage. It was quite costly to manage, and we really felt that there was something that was lacking in the market, a glue that could keep this together. So that is why we decided to start Turbotic and try to build this product to bring this to market, because we thought we had a gap in the market. Anyway, I'll talk a little bit about why are you doing this, why are you even looking at this, and what do you want to achieve, and what can you potentially achieve by driving intelligent automation. And I think most organizations that are driving intelligent automation, they want to scale, they want to succeed, right? And then different companies might define successes in different ways. But this is, a few things that I see are common for organizations that are really scaling. And one is that they're really looking at not like piecemeal activities, they're more looking at end-to-end business flows, which drives actual transformation and change in an organization. And when doing that, they usually look at how can they have a significant impact. And that might not usually only on the cost dimension, but looking a little bit broader. How can we even use this to drive new revenue streams, to create new offerings for our customers. How can we increase customer satisfaction, for instance? And then another thing is that many companies, they start in one function and then they can't scale there because they only have sponsors in one function or a few functions. But the ones that really scale, they, I think they are able to engage most parts of the business, or maybe even all parts of the business, to get this implemented everywhere, basically. And in order to do that, we think you need both the bottom up drive, so that people feel passionate about this and not feel afraid of the consequences of automation. But you also need a top-down push and the investments coming. So you really engage large parts of the company. And when you do all of this, you will most likely have hundreds or even have thousands of different solutions that are running, which is costly, which is complex to manage. And you will most likely have multiple different platforms too, because you find out that having the best of breed and solving a wider set of use cases often requires a wider set of technologies. So this is things that we experienced and what we see in other parts. And then we're going to look at what can you spend on when you're heading intelligent automation in a company. We see that there are 5 main areas that you can focus on. One is having a good management team, having a good vision and strategy in place. And another one is really to engage the business, engage the stakeholders and drive pipeline. And the third area is delivering these projects. So actually building bots or building solutions. The fourth one is the operations, which tend to increase the larger your implementation is. And the fifth investment area is when you invest in new capabilities. That might be new technology, or it might be upskilling your people to be able to manage a wider set of technologies. So to say. So these are 5 areas I think it's good to think of when looking at what companies actually spend on. And if you look at a case, and this can obviously differ between different companies, but the spend breakdown could potentially look like something like this, which I don't think is very uncommon. If you look at this one, you see that the vast majority of the spend here, almost close to 80%, is spent on either building new stuff or operating the old stuff, which is a lot, right? And both of these, I think, they're not very strategic. Of course, you need to build a lot of new solutions if you're going to scale. But really, what is needed to scale, then you need to engage the stakeholders. You need to have a really good relation with the stakeholders on a high level, on executive level, but also further down in the hierarchy. And you need to continuously build a pipeline. So that is also important to spend on that one. And you also need to have a good vision, a good management, so you can run this, and to continuously spend on building new innovation, building new capabilities. But if your reality looks like this, it's quite hard to spend on this. And of course, maybe you can get more and more budget for every year. But if not, well, then you have a bit of a problem, because then we see that then this part, operations, will just increase every year, and they will eat up the funding that is available to scale and to achieve hyper automation or intelligent automation at scale. You can obviously break this down in different aspects here. On operations, for instance, you have running the bots, so to say, application operations. You have the license spend, you have the infra cost, and you have the keeping the platforms up and running, for instance. But when you start to look at optimization, where should you look at optimizing? Obviously, we can start with this. Where should you invest if you really want to scale? And my view is that if you want to scale and if you want to succeed, you need to ensure that you put your investments in the more strategic areas, to really invest, to transform the business, to engage the stakeholders as good as possible, to ensure that the center of excellence or the automation team or whatever it's called is very much represented at the top in the company, and is working with the most important strategic programs to drive change. You also need to invest in having the right management. And I was talking to one of the vendors today, and they say, you know, what differs the successful companies from the unsuccessful companies in intelligent automation? The number one factor, that is who is the head of this automation organization. You really need to invest in this position, have it on the right level, and have the right team to drive this. And then the third one, which I think is important, is to be able to invest in new capabilities, new platforms to unlock new opportunities, and also to improve your current platforms. And in order to do that, it's quite clear, where do you need to optimize? You should optimize where you have the bigger cost items, of course. So imagine if you can go in and reduce cost of operations with 40%. Imagine if you can take down the cost of delivery and the lead time of delivery. Well, you get much more happy stakeholders because they get their stuff faster and they get it to a lower cost. They get better business cases for each solution, and they will do more and more solutions. So it's quite important when you drive this at scale that you continuously optimize the way you operate and take down the costs so that you're able to invest in the new areas. And if you do that, then you could, all of a sudden, you could look at this reality instead. Imagine having the ability to invest 25% of the whole budget or all the spend in building new pipeline. Then you have this continuous inflow of new capabilities. Imagine that you can invest so much on building new capabilities and looking at new platforms, do innovation projects, and maybe you can even start to provide some savings. After a while, I believe, in most cases, the CIOs or the CFOs will start to demand savings from everything that is legacy. So the question then is, you know, how do you do that? And here is where we started to think of, you know, can we create something that helps the companies to do this? But first, I think there are some fundamentals that are important I talked about. And I think having the right leadership, having the right transformation approach with the business, and building the right capabilities with the right people and the right technology. Those are fundamental, all three of them. But if you have that, or if you have parts of that, it's very important to look at the enablers then. So here we believe automation optimization comes in as a huge enabler for successfully scaling intelligent automation. So that is, from our perspective, is about looking at the life cycle. So how do you do this whole life cycle faster and better and cheaper than before? That is automation optimization. We talk about operations, we talk about build, but we also talk about discovery. How do you digitize your whole discovery? And how do you find ideas from the business in a smarter way? And one thing that many companies are having a hard time with, how do you track the value in a better way? And how do you showcase this to the executives so that you can get more money, so you can get more investments, showcasing the value that is that you have done. So with that, I wanted to introduce this this platform, the automation optimization platform, Turbotic. Goran will run through a demo. We just did a new release this week, the 2.0 release. But if I take this on a high level, it's basically a digital representation of an end-to-end life cycle of intelligent automation. There's 5 modules. They're almost like products by themselves, but they are stitched together, so they work together. But you can also use them one by one. The first one is how do you generate more ideas from the business? How do you democratize idea generation? How do you find one way for anybody in the business to submit an idea and get that qualified? Second layer is then how do you take that idea and analyze the opportunity? It means, you know, mapping processes, building business cases, collecting a lot of data on volumes and other things, and do that in a digitized fashion. The third one is, as you saw, a lot of the spend is on build. Generally, it's costly to build these solutions. So how do you do that in a standardized way, driving down the cost and the timeline of building solutions with different kind of features? Then the next one is when you go live, when you deploy, you are in operations. You want to meet your SLAs, and you would want to do it at as low cost and low complexity as possible. So here I think Goran will focus a little bit more on the demo, where we have a lot of new releases coming up. And the fifth one is then how do you take the data of all of this, of the business cases, of the live solutions, of the projects, and visualize that in dashboards that gives insight to any stakeholder, depending on what kind of role that stakeholder has. So that is the kind of foundation of the product. And then there's integrations to different vendors. So basically, you can operate all of these vendors in one place. And you can do a lot of things on top of them. And then the last one is the AI module, where we look at the data across the flow and look at what are the use cases where you can provide intelligence into the system to optimize the whole end-to-end flow. And very logical, there's a lot of stuff here. Predictive, preventive maintenance, error classification, etc. So that's the product. But with that, I'll leave over to Goran to run through a quick demo. After that, I'll go back, talk a little bit more about parts of operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Nandan, for hosting this webinar. Nice to meet you all. I will now take on the sharing.
Great to have you on, Goran, and look
Thank you.
forward to the demo.
Yes, just let me know if
I can see
you see my screen. Okay, great. Let me just lower this one down. Yeah, so first of all, welcome to Turbotic platform, right? So this is the platform that Turbotic has built, and yeah, I will do a quick walkthrough through the platform, so we can leave some time for questions. So as Alex pointed out, the platform is built on top of 5 modules: idea, discovery, build, control, and value. And these models are set in a way that they're following kind of the intelligent project life cycle. So from the very beginning up to the actual value generation and operating the solutions. But starting first from the idea, why we need this module and why ideas are important. So most of the automations or automation projects today are in a way doomed to failure if you start without a vision, right? Usually you start quite optimistic, but then after your first several automations, then you are done. You don't have any more in your pipeline, anything new things to build. So basically you cannot grow your product anymore. So for that we have built the idea module, which is basically democratizing the generation of idea and helping you in keeping a healthy pipeline throughout the years. So not only like top-down members can dictate what is to be done, but also involve the people bottom-up, where the people that work with the problem, right? So this module is a one-time click, and users spent less than a few minutes to generate ideas, and the module is basically backed up by a machine learning component that will help additionally to speed up the idea progress to actual project by providing recommendations, right? So you can recommend if some solution or some idea is more feasible, less feasible than another, and what type of likely solution is there. So the whole purpose of this module is to help you create your pipeline. Then we move to the next module, which is the discovery. And just I need to move this screen on top. Discovering my. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so the next module is the discovery. So in the discovery is where, as Alec pointed out, the project are spending most of the time and the money. So basically, deep diving, analyzing the ideas, trying to understand basically the business value out of a specific idea. For that, we have inbuilt this module that helps to standardize, first of all, the way of doing discoveries throughout the company. Also, make sure that you are compliant as you go. You have all the information centralized in one place and easy to find, and you can follow your governance from end to end with approval flows, with whatever is needed. So it's structured in several sections. Each section has its own purpose, and it basically follows a flow from opportunity, analyzing, review, and approval. Also, as part of the discovery, we support with automation of the business case. So basically, users can input some of the values as they go, as they know it in the SS process, and then the solution is generating basically to be kind of a business use case, and then based on those to be use cases, you are able to move much quicker forward towards build and implementation. We have a lot of other things there, but happy to deep dive with you on a separate session into each and single one. After you have built your discovery pipeline, so basically you're putting now the hat in the arms on your implementation team. So now you expect that the implementation team builds the solution and delivers as quick as possible, so you can start realizing the value out of it, right? So for that we have the build module, which is in a way inbuilt with a vision to again standardize and to make sure that your implementation project is going as it should, and that there are no showstoppers in the way, that you are still on the time and on the budget, and you can easily visualize the progress and understand where you are at the moment. On top of that, of course, implementing all the governance flows, you can follow activities and so on. And one more additional thing that we have added there is a code review capability. So as we know today, building a lot of automations, it's very important that the code is standardized, and then that you can do the code review more or less standardized as well throughout the different automations. So for that, we have the code review capability that is composed of close to 50 different topics for, or you can say rules, and then you have a big breakdown of the rules. You have the overall score and so on. So basically, it helps to deliver your implementation much quicker and in much more stable state. Once you're done with the implementation, you deploy your automations, your models, or depends what technology you're using, and then you are putting it in the hands on your operational team. So for that, we have the control module, which is you can say the heart of the whole application. So this is where the things are happening, right? So this is where you centralize your view of all your underneath technologies, and then you are able to control and operate the technologies. The control module is built on with a vision that is cross-technology, cross-vendor, and multi-tenant support on top. So which means no matter what technology you are on, or if you have multiple vendors from same technology, multiple tenants, you can all plug and play into one single platform, one single view, and then see what's going on and operate from the same view. Addressing some of the challenges that Alex mentioned earlier are also done in this module. So one of the kind of challenges today is visualization. What's going on, right, with your technology? How they're performing? Are things going how it should be? Are there any breakages? Anything not going as it should? Even when things are going as they should, can I see and so on? Then also automation of those incidents specifically. So when things are happening all the time, especially when you are growing big For that, we have automation of kind of incidents, so you can easily plug and play ServiceNow or any other ITSM tool and automate the whole flow from when the incidents happen up to when the incident is follow up and fixed. We have built the module on even on a deeper level, where you can, for example, if you go into the RPA technology specific line, you have a deep dive into each of the RPA specific entities like processes, queues, robots, resources, and so on. And for each of those lines, we have a top level where you see the visibility, what's happening, and then you have a breakdown level where you can, deep dive into the specifics. You can see what's working, not working, and then even go to the lowest level of the things that are actually your automations, right? You can visualize the logs. You can go to the log level, and additionally to that, we have added anomaly kind of a page. And the whole purpose with anomaly page is again to address one of the challenges that most of the automation projects have today, which is basically analyzing the errors, right? So if you have hundreds of automations live, it's becoming more and more challenging to analyze which of the errors, because there are errors always, and it will continue happening. But analyzing and paying attention on the right error at the right time is the most important one. And this specific sub module of this module that we have built is addressing that point. So it shows you when and which errors you should actually look at when there are anomalies versus when it's like expected behavior of your solution. Coming back to the other, so we have on top added this run flow section, which is linked to any of your scheduling, basically triggering automations on the fly or on a specific time. So the run flow section is addressing another challenge that the automation projects are dealing with today, which is the schedule orchestration part. So in this module, you can basically, first of all, visualize all your schedules, automations, and on a heat map, you can understand where you have the kind of the breaking points. The more darker the fields are, it means the more heavy that specific day and hour is, and the lighter it is, the less offload it is. So you can optimize, first of all, from a viewpoint perspective. But on top of that, we have built in within the tool option that you create your own flows and build some additional or more like specialized way of scheduling that you then hand it over to the platform to operate for you. And what I mean, I have a pre-open schedule for that. So this is how it looks when you create a schedule. You have a kind of run flow map that you can build, and this allows you to basically create not a single only like a process, but you can create a whole flow of processes into one basically trigger. And this flow can be multi-technology combined. You can be multi-vendor. So there is no limitations that you have today by using the vendors only. From a flow perspective as well, there are several rules or kind of triggers that you can configure, time-based triggers, more like standard triggers that are supported on a flow level. And then we have some dynamic scheduling triggers, also time-based, that you can make it this more dynamic without static timing, like a run before or run between. Then you have event-based triggers where you can trigger where actually the platform is triggering this based on specific events. In this case, like a queue are coming into a specific queue. So queue items are coming in a specific queue. This can happen anytime during the day, or maybe during once during month or several times during the day. So it's not controlled. It's impossible to schedule. So it's on the fly. We have also API-based triggering. So possibility that you can trigger these flows outside through APIs, low-code applications, or whatever you have options, and a possibility to trigger it, of course, manually. So there are cases as well that you want specific triggers, flows to be triggered only by you on specific points when you want it manually, that you can do it as well. For each trigger, there is a very deep dive historical data overview of what's happening. You can you have a full deep dive into the history, even on a specific flow, where you can go one by one. You can see what has happened, when, if there are errors, you can see what's the error. You can deep dive into the log as such, and so on and so on. And one more important thing here that we are addressing is, in a way, a self recovery of these processes. And how this self recovery is done is basically by setting up a rules. We are supporting as part of the platform 3 types of rules. We have execution rules, we have the recovery rules, and notification rules. So let me put it again on the screen. So execution rules are basically rules that allow you to control how you execute this process, which on which resources, which users can do it, and so on. Recovery rules are rules that help you to recover from errors specifically, or from processes that are stuck somewhere. And notifications are basically alerts in a way. If you want to get alerted for specific points, you can configure those. So by configuring these 3 types on any of the levels, you are able to basically also introduce self-recovery on top. Another basically important point here that we are addressing through this run flow is kind of schedule overlaps. So usually in real life, that like a static scheduling is done once, but as things go, resources fail, licenses are not enough, and so on. So usually you get a lot of more unexpected things than just a simple one-time scheduling. So for that, the platform actually take care of it and dynamically reallocate resources, dynamically plans and runs the schedules, and as well raise alerts to you, so you are aware when things are not working or when things will be failing, so you can earlier be aware when you should invest more into maybe licensing, into more resources, and so on, more capacity in a way. So with this, we are also addressing another problem that Alex mentioned, and this is, you can say, optimization of your resources and your licenses. So the better you optimize resources and licenses, the more stability you have in the whole operation. And also we have some parts regarding licenses where you can see full visibility of your license. You can deep dive into each license. You can see what you have, the cost as well per license is available, utilization per license, and so on. With that, I will round up the control and jump quickly to the volume module, which is the last module of the 5, but not the least important, because this is where actually business and your management actually will be looking. This is where you can see how your automations are performing, what is your ROI, KPIs, and so on. So we have the KPI file summary page. You can see statistics, savings, hours saved, money saved per project, per KPI, different views. You can see in a dashboard view based on estimations what you have done in your discovery and reality. So compare your actuals versus estimate, which is very important to further on streamline your automations, especially from discovery and so on. We have also some other visualizations like tracking your pipeline. So discovery summary tracking, the build pipeline tracking, how you're completing project on time, off time. And then we have some customized dashboards and self dashboards that you can build on top with the data that is available through the automations. So you can build any different kind of customized dashboards with automation data, and then on top we allow some self dashboarding capabilities, which will give you some more kind of a flavor to the visualization and what you want to see, what is what you are interested in. Yeah, with that I will wrap up this demo, so I can leave some time for questions.
Thank you, Goran. That was a great demo. I like the extent of the features, and also, I love the look and feel of your dashboards. So we have some questions coming in, so we'll start taking them up. So first question we have is from Brad. So Brad, do you want to unmute and ask the questions, or do you want me to read it out? All right, let me read it for you. So and you can also see it on the chat, Goran and Alex. How would you say production support engineers will be able to leverage the scheduling and control tab for management of deployed solutions?
Yeah, so basically the control tab is especially the run flow part is there to offload the operational, specifically in the area of scheduling, right? Managing your automations and running on time, making sure that whenever they run, there is available resource and license, and that you can streamline the runtimes. You can also kind of lower your throughput time, which you cannot do by manually scheduling things. Additionally to that, you can, the production operational guys can easily see what's happening on the platform anytime, through actually not on one specific technology, but throughout technologies, right? And then you can set up alerts. You can set up a lot of kind of self recovery rules and things that will additionally support and offload your, deep dive analysis that usually people are doing when things are not working on the platforms.
Okay. Do you know Celonis execution management system, EMS? He has a question about that too. He says, how would they say ID exception? Oh, sorry. Do the 3 types of rules supported enable automated handling of scenarios similar to Celonis EMS?
I don't know the Celonis EMS specifically, so yeah, I cannot really comment versus that one.
Okay. How would they say ID exception, and what degree of control might they have to initiate an action on that platform or notify, escalate issues if needed?
Exceptions in a sense of as that they're coming as they go, or
exceptions in the sense of in that control platform. If I have a production engineer who identifies one of those various rules, and they want to take an action, either themselves, if it's a specific SLA, or if they determine that they need to escalate an issue, would that be something that they're able to do from that control module?
From the control module, you can actually plug and play and connect a lot of other supporting systems. I mentioned only ServiceNow as one, that you can automate basically incident creation from the exception directly. So basically, you don't need any of your operational guys to sit and look when things are happening, but it will happen automatically, and then the team that should take care of it will actually get this in more or less real time. But yeah.
And the question that I had about the Celonis EMS system, they have rules that you can build into that, so that without human intervention, the underlying system will take an action if a particular exception, for example, appears. You can take an action on how that's handled. It can be, you know, a direct notification, you know, for say a ticketing system. If it's something that's not been encountered before, it can reassign that to a human team member for their review. Things like that is what the exception rules that I was referring to.
Okay, yeah, I got you now. So basically, that is not something that we support right at the moment, but that's something that is in our pipeline. Basically, the whole control module is AI backed up. So we are building a whole AI engine underneath the module that will make it smarter. And part of that smartness will be this kind of rules where basically users will be able to set certain rules, and then with the time as well train their models based on their own behaviors, right? So as the motto and the goal for the whole platform is to make the organizational any organizational self-driving. We are building this AI module to accomplish that part. So it will come. We don't have the support at the moment.
All right. Thanks, Brad. So we have some more questions. I think easy question from Dinesh. How can we integrate UiPath or Blue Prism to Turbotic?
Yeah, so I will jump to the basically the administration portal. So the platform is built on from two layers. One is the layer that I was showing you with the 5 modules, and then we have a administration specific layer, which is used to set up all the integrations, connections in few clicks. So basically, this is where you choose the vendor. You choose, for example, for Blue Prism. You put the details that are required, and you connect. Similar with the UiPath, we connect to the orchestrator. You put the credentials, and then you are up and running. So the platform is actually using API-based approach for most of the vendors, and for some that don't support API, like the older version of Blue Prism, we are also using database connections.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And that seems very easy. All right. So Frank has a question. In the control module, when you start a process/bot, how do you control what VDI or machine and user logged in is being used?
Yeah, that all that is controlled through the rules that I mentioned. So basically, you have 3 levels to put this control on. One is on the process level. So if I open, for example, one of the processes, we have the run rules.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Please go on mute. Okay, I'm not able to see this person.
Yeah. So this is basically the control. So you configuring the rules. You can set a global rule that can apply to all your processes, automations. You can configure a specific process rule, or you can configure a flow specific rule. So 3 levels of configuration, and then you have allowing, denying on resource. You can also set up a reassigning on specific resources based on the duration. So if some resource went down, you can reassign to another group of resources and so on.
Okay, great. Thank you, Frank, for the question. Craig Nicholson, he says, for those organizations that have truly embraced intelligent automation and it has become part of their core transformational initiatives, how does Turbotic feel their platform can best support these organizations with Turbotic? Alex, maybe for you?
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's a great question, and that is, I think that kind of customer is very much the end-to-end customer, because they are working with all of these aspects at scale, so they can use the idea modules to engage the business even more and get even more ideas. They use the discovery module to get all the data in one place. and to be able to drive reuse. And they use the build module to keep track of all the projects and to do the projects faster and cheaper with the code review and other things. They use controls, so then they add all their vendors in there, and they can show all the vendors in one place and optimize that with the AI features. And they can also create these different dashboards based on access control for different stakeholder groups. So they can provide the finance team with the finance bots and the solutions and the projects, and the HR team with the information about those, and they do all of that in real time, so they don't need to sit and do a lot of PowerPoints and reporting on the side, but basically digitize the whole initiative in one place with the access control for everybody who needs that.
Yeah, a self-driving enterprise, right? That's the term I forgot when I was
Yeah, that's the vision, right?
I love that vision. All right, so let's go to the next one. Code reviews. Do you do code reviews, guys? Goran, is that included?
Yes.
Okay.
As part of the build module, we have a code review.
Okay, so Frank is
section.
asking, how do Turbotic do code reviews, static, dynamic, or users who code review each other's code?
Basically, this is a dynamic code review, so it's an automated one where you provide the XML package or the zip file, and then once you provide it, you set up, you choose your rules you would like to code review. You can predefine these rules to standardize or not, and then once you set this up, you send it for processing, and then usually it's up to a minute until you get the results. You get the score, you get together with the score, you get also where the score is low, you get the observations and some details about how you can fix the issues.
All right, so 6 more minutes. So let's speed it up. We have 4 more questions. I think, Alex, what's the selling business model from Sergey?
Yeah, okay, good. So on the pricing, so there's another one on pricing. So we price this based on 2 aspects. One is how many users you have, and then how many processes you connect to the control. So this also depends on what parts of the product you want to use. If you want to use the whole product end to end, it's users and processes. If you only want to use the control module, for instance, because you're mostly interested in operations, well, then you will not have so many users maybe, but you'll have a lot of processes. If you're more looking at the project side, the discovery build, then you might have more users because your teams are working there. So you pay per user and you pay per process. But we're also looking at ways to find the right model for the right customers, I would say.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And Tunji is also asking, apart from pricing, is training provided included for partners?
For partners, yeah, definitely. We have a partner program that is up and running, and there we provide training to the partners. So definitely, so you're interested, just feel free to send me an email.
Perfect.
And of course, for customers too, we provide training so that they can operate the product themselves.
Yeah, and I've gone through one of that, so thank you. Yeah, it's great. So Homan is asking, any competitors for Turbotic, and he's asking me. So let me address that, and if you guys have any thoughts, you can also add. And so Turbotic is, in a space of its own. It's basically it's like self-driving enterprise. It's a big vision, right? But from an operations perspective, maybe RPA supervisor, Roboyo has got a tool, and I recently got to know Accenture also has a tool. So there are a few from the consulting companies, and there are some upcoming competitors too. Join our club. We have people who are who has more experience in building those things and in using these things and applying these things. But yeah, any other thoughts, Alex, quickly?
On competition, I think it's a fairly new category.
Right.
I think from what I've seen, we are the only one who providing an end-to-end platform with the whole life cycle, and then we have competitors for maybe individual modules. But from what we have seen, at least, if you want end-to-end, we are the only one at the moment.
Thank you.
Our biggest competitors, you can say today, are the homegrown solutions that
homegrown solutions,
the big customer has built it. But those are basically long-term, very hard to maintain, or like costly. So yeah.
All right, Goran, one more question. Initialize, industrialize, institutionalize. Among the above phases, where do you think Turbotic can start its journey to get into right shoes? Sriram. Initialize,
Maybe
right?
I can take that one.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, go ahead.
We have, I think we have interesting customers in all this.
Yeah.
We have one customer who started with automation, and then they started with the Turbotic and one of the RPA tools from day one. So they got everything digitized from day one. And then we industrialized. That's a very common one. We have the companies that have 50 or maybe 100 bots, and maybe they're looking at adding a second vendor, maybe. And they're starting to get into some issues and problems scaling. So that's, I think, an ideal customer. But then we also have these very big ones who have can have thousands of bots. They have, I would say, for them, they have built something homegrown because they have the problem and there hasn't been a market to solve that problem. So they have started to build something homegrown, but now they can build something off the shelf then and get the cost down significantly. So I think it works for all of these kind of categories.
All right, 2 more minutes. So last question, and I think Alex, you can take your slides at this point. It asks about trial version. So I think you have something to share. Trial version, and
sure.
then something to share.
Please let me share. See if I can find it. Here we go.
Stop the share.
Okay. I could just tell that we had this 2.0 release that was happening now, which is basically adding what we call automated operations, and the features that you can see are automated and dynamic scheduling, self-recovery processes, automatic and SLA-based notifications, AI-based anomaly detection to the product that already existed, so to say, which is a multi-vendor end-to-end management with the whole end-to-end flow, idea, discover, build, control, and value, and with the integrations to a number of the different leading vendors in the market. So, and we get a lot of questions now. How can you try this out? So we wanted, together with Nandan, then do a bit of a launch offer for this webinar, where we are then offering anyone who wants to try for 3 months a whole project plus support. So basically what we do then is to train 10 users, where we add 20 projects, and we connect up to 100 processes of any of these vendors into your into this control room, where we after a while can provide this X-ray analysis of your operations then. And based on that, you can also, on top of the dashboards that are coming out of the box, you can choose 2 of your own dashboards that are most relevant for you, and we get them built in a custom way, so to say. And then of course installation and support. So if you're interested in this, feel free to reach out, and we can look at that. And otherwise, of course, if you want to continue the discussion, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. So we have a few more questions. So we are at a bit about time, but we can stay on and address it. Alex, Goran, if you guys are available, are you guys okay? All right.
Yes, I'm fine.
Idea and discovery. How does your platform compare to the task and process mining tools that do all this automatically? Homan.
Yeah, I was just actually answering this one because you said we were closing, but
okay,
yeah,
you already did that. Okay, sorry, I didn't see that.
I will say it. Yeah, I will say it loud. So basically, we are not doing any task or process mining, but we are actually plugging in the outputs from those kind of tools, and then additionally streamlining the outputs so that you can have everything centralized again, standardized within your organization, and then you can follow up once you're live in the value.
Yeah, and I like that approach. You're not duplicating anything. Use the best of breed and then use Turbotic to orchestrate it. That's great. What is the basic pricing for all modules to fit, Dinesh? But I don't know if you want to, Alex, you want to share anything on that?
I'm happy to share that with you, Dinesh.
Okay.
In person, if you reach out, so to say. Then we have this launch offer here as well that you can work with. But we want to, if you are small, if you don't have much, we think it should be fairly easy to start with a very low cost. Of course, if you have thousands of bots, that's a bigger that's a bigger implementation, and but we want to create, a lot of business value so that the price can then be justified for it. But easy to start and then pay as you grow.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Goran. I think that's all the questions we have. So thank you so much. It was a great session from you gentlemen today. Some of you guys asking where you can find the recording. So I have put the YouTube channel. So I'll put the recording out there. And if you're signed up for this session, I'll send you an email as well, follow-up email with the session recording so that you have it. And so before we go, Alex, Goran, if you want to share anything with the people, and 90 of them had signed up, and I know many of them would watch the recording, send it to me and I will include it in the email when I send out. So
yeah, I will do that. And actually, Nandan, I wanted to share a poll we did together, you and me, where we asked a number of experts on, what are the biggest problem in automation operations. And I think we got really good data. So we have some data points what people think are the biggest problems, and we got some data points on what people think are the most needed features to solve this problem. And now with this release, we have actually built most of these features. But I will share this in the slide pack that is submitted then by Nandan after the session.
okay, thank you. Very good. Thank you so much. So Tunji, I now still want to ask about trial licenses. I don't know if she dropped or he dropped. He's there. So trial licenses, as I understand, there, it is restricted. They reach out to you for any trial, right?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. We unfortunately right now we don't have anything where you can just download and trial, and maybe we will work on that. But right now, you'll have to reach out to me, Tunji, and I'm happy to discuss that with you.
Great. And on that note, a lot of interest in Turbotic. So thank you so much, gentlemen. It was great having you guys, as well as everyone who joined. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, and
Nandan.
thanks, Nandan, for organizing.
No problem. Great to have you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.